Often people ask me, do you wet your paper before you start watercolor painting? Should we always wet our paper before we start the painting? Should we start the painting without wetting the paper? Today we're going to explore what are going to be the difference. Okay, let's do a little comparison exercise. Today I'm using this watercolor paper from Magic Fly. This is a very economic watercolor paper. If you're looking for an inexpensive watercolor paper for exercise, I also include a link in the video description. If I wet the watercolor paper first, now I'm going to use my 1-inch flat brush. Now I'm going to wet this whole area. Okay. And let it stay here for a few seconds so the water would get into the paper. Okay, this is very wet. And now I'm gonna start painting on this side. Okay, now I'm directly painting the sky from red to turn to yellow. I'm gonna paint the sky from here. And now I'm gonna change the color and getting the more yellow color. And then clean my brush, get even more yellow color. Here you go. And then I have some light color. Now I just clean my brush, use my water, and here you go. Have it like that. And then at the bottom over here, I'm gonna start having a little bit more orange color. Get back over here. Like that, just use the side of this flat brush, like that. Okay, now on this side, I did not wet the paper. I just directly painting. Just have the color coming down like this. Okay, now we come back to, on this side, this area is totally wet. So I'm gonna use the same red color. Now coming over here. Okay. Now I'm gonna come to a little bit yellow color. Now clean my brush, get a little bit more yellow coming over here. Like that. And get a little bit red, make it look like orange. Now let's do a little comparison. This side, I painted directly right on the watercolor paper without pre-wetted. And this side, I wet the paper and wait about 6 seconds before I start painting on the watercolor paper. Is there any difference? Or which one would you prefer a little bit better? Let's take a look. I painted directly wet into wet by having the wet color over here and then have the wet yellow color and connect it and keep coming down. Because there's no pre-wet water in the area, the amount of water that I apply to the paper is easier to calculate. Take a look on this side. I painted the same way that I painted over here, but however, because it's already have the water on the paper, more water gradually still coming down, running down. When I first painted it, that looks fine. After a few seconds, all the wet paint still coming down and the wet paint coming down over here. Pre-wet the paper has a purpose. For example, if you only have one small brush, you don't have a large brush, and it would make sense that you wet the paper first, right? And then you are going to, I'm going to take this color, and then I want a flat area color So I want the colors very much smooth together. In that case, that is just a very good process. But if you have a large brush, like what I have, this 1-inch flat brush, I'm going to take this color, and I don't really need to pre-wet it because I wet the paper as I'm painting the area. And actually, it's more predictable this way. But if you don't have a large brush, in that case, wet the paper before you put the same color in the same area. You have to keep that in mind. The water that you already applied to the watercolor paper is still there. You combine with the water already on the paper, the final result would look lighter. If you already get used to pre-wet the paper, and now suddenly you are not going to pre-wet the paper, the calculation would be a little bit different because you get used to the water already on the paper. It takes you some time to get used to paint it the other way. Now I'm going to show you how to paint a landscape painting without wetting the paper. To paint this early morning landscape, I'm going to directly painting the sky. I'm going to just take the red color. Maybe not so bright. I'm going to mix a little blue color over here. Okay, I'm going to start painting right from the top over here. So if you use a large brush like this, it will be really helpful. You don't have to wet the paper in this case. I'm going to get a little bit yellow color. Doesn't need a clean yellow color, so take that into here. I'm going to add that color at the bottom over here. What I'm putting in the paper, this is what I'm putting in the paper. There's no other elements on the paper at this point. And I'm going to put a little water and with a little yellow color. Yeah, now here you go. I'm going to put it right here like that and have some texture. And on the top over here, I'm going to have a little bit light of this red color like that. Okay, that's good. Put over here and let it wet into wet connect together. And I'm going to just use the water, make this a little bit lighter. Here you go. Now I'm going to make this a little bit lighter. And I'm going to have the bright yellow color. Here you go. Like that. Now also I can leave some light gap as I'm painting down. And if you pre-wet the paper, and that should be the whole paper would be already wet. There's no the freedom for you to spontaneously leave the white space right over here, right? That's another benefit of not pre-wet the paper. Okay, right here, I'm going to leave a little white. Now that's good. Now I'm going to add some of the colors next to it. And I'm going to have a little red from both sides, because this is also a little bit away from the sun. I'm going to have that over here like this. And on this side, I'm also going to add a little red color. Just use the side of the brush, have the color coming in over here. So for this area, it's already pre-wet because I just wet the area, painted with the yellow color. Now I'm going to make it a little bit smoother right over here, a little bit smoother like that. And I'm going to make this whole area connect together like that. That's good. Right. Okay, the sky is finished. Now I'm going to getting down to the land. I'm going to make some a little bit darker color. So I'm going to take this blue color, a little bit more blue. This is the Windsor blue green shade. I'm going to take the red color. Of course, take a little yellow because I want it to be a little bit warmer, a little bit brown color because the early morning. I'm going to put this color right over here. I'm painting as I am directly mixing the color right over here. Now, I'm just going to put this color right in here for now. But I'm not going to touch the sky because it's going to very messy. So I'm going to leave that for a little while. Let the land over here dry before I continue coming up a little bit more of that. So at this point, I'm also going to start painting a really orange color behind those trees. Have a very soft, warm color over there. So now I'm gonna use my calligraphy brush. Now I'm gonna come here, just mix the red color. Now I don't need lots of water. I can control the amount of water much easier. That's good. Now I'm going to take a look. I'm gonna put a little tree over here. I'm gonna tap on it and let it fade into the background, because this is gonna look like the tree that has the sun shine on it at the backlight. Like that. That's good. And also have some color over here around those. Oh, it's beautiful. And now I also put it at the edge over here for now. It's a little bit more away from the sun. The sun is in this area, so it would be a little bit less and less this kind of effect. Now I'm gonna add a little yellow color over here, a little brighter yellow color, like that. Okay, that's good. And I'm gonna remove a little bit of this color because the sun is really graduate, really sunlight's really bright. Okay, just mold this brush look like a flat brush and let go of the color and keep coming back like this. Here you go. Like that. Much better. A little bit softer. Like that. That's good. Now we're gonna wait for a few minutes and we're gonna come back to finish the painting. Now the paint already settled, a little dry. Now I come back to do another round for the land. It's really dark, so I'm gonna have a little yellow color here first and get lots of red. It's very warm, and get some Windsor blue color. Now I'm gonna have a little bit more. Here you go. Now I'm gonna come back over here, a little bit more red at this side, at this edge of my brush. Okay, here you go. Now take a look at, I'm gonna focus on what the shape that I like to have. I need to be darker color. Okay, here you go. A lot more darker. Okay. And take a look. Take a look at the edge over here. Now coming around over here. Also coming to the edge over here. Here you go, coming up like this. Okay, now second time is much darker. And now I'm gonna have one more time, make the color a little bit darker. They create that value contrast. It's very important to create a strong composition. So I'm gonna make that a little bit darker. And also I want to convey the feeling as a hill, as going a little bit. And in the middle over here is even darker. So I'm going to have a little darker color, even more paint, less water. Now I'm going to have this a little bit difference in the value. Okay, like this. And also on this side, I have a little bit more feeling of the green color. So I'm gonna mix a little yellow color with the blue color in here. Here you go. Just a little bit yellow color into it. Now I have a nice, very nice, subtle feeling. And every little texture actually played a role in the watercolor painting at the final result. Oh, this is beautiful, right? Now I'm gonna come back to use the calligraphy brush. By the way, this set of watercolor brushes is very important for me. If you're looking for this brush, here's the place they can go to get your own. enjoyingart.com/brushes. Okay, now I'm going to have the very dark color again. Mix the color one more time. and take this, pretty good. That's pretty dark. Just the red and the blue color together. It's a very, very dark color. Now coming over here, I just use gently use this brush can act as a very small brush and also act as a pretty good size, mid-size brush. Okay, I'm gonna keep going into the tree over here. I'm gonna use a little bit dry brush on the top here. So I'm gonna let go most of the paint. I also use the paper towel to let go of the most of the paint. Now I'm gonna come back here to do the dry brush over here like that. Here you go, showing a little texture for the tree over here. Okay, a little bit over here. That's good. When it get a little bit closer, and I'm gonna add a little bit orange color to it. I'm gonna get the yellow and the orange color and a little bit more red. Here you go. Now I'm gonna have a little color over here like this. Here you go. Because when they get closer and closer to the sun and the color change. Now I come back here, I'm gonna use just the brown color. Here you go. And take a look. I'm gonna have a little tree over here. Like that, very small shape. Take a look. And a little tree over here. Here you go. Like that. Now just get the shape in. Oh, this is very interesting. Coming on this side. Like that. Just tap on it. Just a little bit. Draw the tree trunk a little bit over here as well. Okay, a little bit over here. I'm gonna just tap. Let's paint this warmer color, and then in the middle, I'm also going to paint a little bit darker color. A little bit darker. Here you go. Coming over here. Like that. Here you go. Okay, that's just very interesting. Now I'm on the other side. I'm gonna get the yellow and orange color, a little bit even brighter color, and tap on here. And you can see that is much better representation of the sun. Like that. This is good. Now on the edge over there, and I'm gonna have a couple vertical line. Like a very, very thin line. Okay, like this. Oh, that's good. Now I'm gonna get a little bit more details into the land over here because this is very close. I'm just going to tap on it a little bit darker, all the way from here to left to the right. Okay, here you go, like that, and a little bit like this. And I'm gonna have a couple more line. This is a little bit thicker color. I'm just adding it to, and add a little details like that. And now this painting is finished. Now you can see you don't have to always wet your paper first before you start your watercolor paintings. If you like this kind of learning, you might want to come to join our Enjoying Art learning community. Please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and make sure you subscribe and turn on notification. I will see you in my next video.